What's up, folks? It's been a while since the Miata got any love, so today we're going to pull it out of the garage, pull it into the main garage, and then we're going to do a bumper chop because race car. Hey! Big guy, little car, and woo! Just for comparison, look how small the Miata looks compared to the M4. I mean, it's a little baby. So a past client of mine actually gave me that jack after I sold his house. When he was cleaning out his garage, he realized he had two of them. So D, thanks for that. There we go. Alrighty. Alright, the Miata is now on jack stands. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to get underneath it to remove the bumper itself when it comes time. But now what I want to do is I want to mask this entire section of the bumper in blue painter's tape so that I can draw the line in which I'm going to make the cut. So I'm going to go and do that now. I just realized that I made a terrible mistake. I grabbed the wrong kind of tape at Lowe's today. This is not painter's tape. This is like basically blue duct tape. And so I'm going to use it anyway, and I just hope it doesn't leave a terrible residue, but you guys do the right thing and use blue painter's tape. So I'm going to take this tape and I'm going to follow this bumper line all the way around the bumper because that's going to kind of give me an idea of, I'm going to use this basically as a guide to mark my lines before I make any of my cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I just went inside to find a Sharpie, and I just found out that I'd have an entire roll of blue painter's tape. So I'm going to pull all this tape off, and I'm going to retape it because it's going to freak me out if I don't. Oh, it's so satisfying. I wonder if I can make an entire YouTube channel of just pulling tape, like peeling tape or peeling off Band-Aids. All right, maybe not. Ooh, it's such a satisfying, like, pull. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the exhaust as kind of a reference point on how high up do I want the cut to be. I don't want this major gap between the outlet of the exhaust and like this top line here. So I want to give it something that's going to look a little bit aggressive, but also kind of tidy. So I think I'm going to do it right around here. So let me go ahead and mark kind of where I'm thinking, which is like right about there. And I'm going to take the distance from this trim line here to here. So if you'll notice here, what I'm doing is I am measuring from this crease, and I just know based off a feel kind of where it is and it's seated, and I'm basically going 4.5 inches is the distance I'm determining, and I'm gonna just make a bunch of little dots at 4.5 inches. Okay, so it might be hard to see right now, but I have marked little dots that are roughly 4.5 inches down from this center line here all the way across the bumper on the blue tape. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take something flat. I found this piece of cardboard from a bicycle pump that I just recently bought, and I'm going to use this as a flat edge to basically line them all up and then connect the dots. It's not really like super crazy precision or scientific or anything, but it works, and I've been doing it for a long time. So what I'll do is I'll just line it up and just start to draw the line using this as a guide. You know, some of your dots are going to be slightly higher than others, so what I would say is, because you have a range of them, get them like lined up with as many as you possibly can and use that as your line. So let me go ahead and draw these out. Okay, so right here we have some decisions to make. We need to decide on how steep of an angle, if any. I mean, you can carry this straight across if you want. I don't really like that look, so I want a little bit of a little bit of an angle here. And right now I have to determine like how much angle do I want. And so I'm gonna kind of use that flat piece that I had, kind of measure, kind of get an idea of what kind of angle do I like before I actually make the cut. Okay, notice how I have my line here. I want to show you how I actually did this. Is I took this edge right here straight down to 7 inches on the side here. Then I marked it, and then I just kind of took it until I got to a point that I like here, and then I'm going to use a second reference point here and measure the edge of this marker, and also using the top of this line here to measure it out again. And that's going to put us at basically at the bottom of the thickness of this black line here is going to be 5 3/4 inches. And so I know that on this side, on the other side, I can match these same dimensions and get the same line. Okay, now that I have my line marked out for the entire car, both sides of the car and the actual back, I'm going to take my trusty Dremel here with a cutting wheel, and we are going to just basically run along this line until we get to the other side. So let's give it a shot. So yeah, we're gonna do that for the entire thing. I'm not gonna make you watch the entire thing, but let me get it going. So you can see here, it gets hot enough that it actually melts the plastic. So we're gonna have to basically finish up this last 10 inches, then we're gonna remove the bumper, pull it apart, and kind of smooth out the cut itself. So this is gonna be kind of hard to show you, but there's 2 screws you need to undo on the bumper itself. There's gonna be one right here, and then there's actually gonna be one that's like kind of right under this section of the bumper here. Undo those 2, and then there's actually gonna be 8 bolts underneath the car that you need to undo that just lets the whole thing come right off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do those now. Looking under the bumper, here's those bolts that I'm talking about. There's gonna be 1, 2, and then on the opposite side there will be 3, and then 4 up there, and then the same goes for both sides. All right, come on, bolt. All right. There's like a bunch of grime falling in my eyeball and stuff. All right, now that we have the 8 bolts removed from the bumper, we can go ahead and pull it off. There are going to be a couple connectors and stuff we need to be aware of, so don't just yank at it. There's going to be a line that basically powers your side markers, so you don't want to tear that away from the car. Just kind of gently pull it off methodically. So you notice here's that connector on this side that I'm talking about. So what you want to do is just kind of come in gently, disconnect it. That might be the most stubborn connector I've ever dealt with. That was literally the worst. Okay, so with the bumper removed, you can now see that we have the bumper supports in the back here. And what we want to do is we want to remove that because we're actually going to end up having to trim that also. So if you notice, there's a series of these plastic screws along the bottom and then also along the top of the bumper. So go ahead and just unfasten those. Alright, once you've undone all those fasteners, the bumper support should just lift pretty much right out. You're going to have to finagle it a little bit, but it'll just come out, and then we'll set this aside for a moment here. So we need to remove these supports too, just because we're going to end up needing to cut these also, and so that we can kind of get this cord out of the way. We don't want to cut that, and just to be safe, so there's 2 bolts here and then 1 bolt on the back for both sides. I'm going to go ahead and do those now. All right, I'm going to mark just above that line from the Dremel. And we're going to cut the bumper support there so that you can't see it under the new bumper line from the outside. It should look a lot better. Okay, as you can see, I've cut the bumper support here, and I'm going to clean up this edge. Then we're also going to cut the these pieces of the bumper support. Gosh, the light sucks right now. Sorry, dudes. In literally like in half across there, and then reassemble. All right, so you can see here that I have the bumper support now reassembled all together again. But I just, you cut half of that. All right, so we're gonna put the bumper support back underneath the bumper skin and put these little fasteners back in just the way that they came. Come on, get in there. They're probably gonna be a little stubborn. Okay, so I got the bumper like just lightly fitted on. I need to bolt it all back in and then put the screws in on the side. You're not gonna use all the bolts and all the screws. You're gonna use 4 bolts and only 2 screws instead of 8 bolts and 4 screws. So yeah, just go ahead and do that. I don't know if this is really gonna be a good how-to video because I've had to skip so much just because I've got the beating sun on me right now. The light's kind of crappy, but at least you guys can see it when it's done. Okay folks, I got it completely bolted up, and now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take my orbital sander here and I'm going to just kind of hit this edge to kind of get it nice and as even as possible. I can say that I'm not sure I really love I think I may want to go a little bit more aggressive in the future, but for now I'm gonna run it like this and then kind of make a decision later on. But it does look way more aggressive than it did. Holy crap, folks. I hope you can hear me. It's a little windy because I think a storm's coming in, but I just wanted to kind of like wrap up this video and just say that at first I was a little bit scared. I was a little worried that I wasn't gonna like the look of it because as soon as I kind of put it off of the jack stands, it just looked so different that I wasn't really sure. And then I got far enough away from it, kind of like now, but it's got this just crazy squatty look to it, and I really, really like it. Let me give you guys some B-roll. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. We still got a lot of Miata content to make.